In the back were the Buckaroos, and who have pretty much been the major contributors to putting them in this position, and their friend O'Cody. And they put on their growly voices, and the kids did their promo, and O'Cody stands there because he couldn't call either one of them. But then Mercedes Mone walks in, and she's doing some of her banter that is apparently scripted by Alexandra Pepperday.
No one ever talks like that ever, anywhere. What is that way she talks to people?
I don't know what's happening here. But then Okada whispers to Maddie, I think it was, and says something to him, and he says, well, he wants you to do your dance. And she does her little stripper dance for him. And then said, well, in Toodaloo or whatever, takes off. And there is their new $1 billion baby, as Alice Cooper used to say. That's what his entrance music ought to be. And he's fanning himself like he's sweating in his suit, and like he's goddamn 16. This is their multi-million-dollar investment from Japan. His work looks like he's just gotten out of a goddamn rehab facility for a fucking medically induced coma. And they're portraying him as just as much of a fucking child as these two that have latched onto his jock and are swinging from it like two trained fucking chimpanzees.
He left Japan for this. How are you supposed to take this guy seriously? He left Japan. Forget about signing with AEW over WWE, looking at the roster and the future of the company and just every single thing to be a top star in the business, to do these kind of segments and these kind of skits. For everyone that heard how upset he was about his time in TNA, are these TNA skits? Are these Vince Russo TNA skits? Like, what are these? Don't sexualize the women. Sasha danced and this guy's ready to come. The hell's happening on this show?
I'm ready for him to go.
And Takeshita can't get booked. Meanwhile,
I forgot
you want to talk about Japanese imports to AEW? Konosuke Takeshita had more potential, still does, more potential, more ability in the ring, more believable as a heel than anyone else they brought over, and they've buried him with bad booking.
Well, they buried him now with no booking because I forgot he was fucking around.
He's on whatever show I guess Wardlow's on, or all these other guys that just vanished. Ricky Starks, Wardlow, and Takeshita.
We're going to find out Tony has set up a satellite territory in the Antarctic, and a bunch of these people are working that loop.
Maybe he could have a new show with his new deal, Collision 2, and it could be like the original Collision, where it's like a split roster. Everyone he won't book, but still works there on that show.
And here, this doesn't have to be an essay question, but back to something you said a minute ago. When Okada, they said he chose that over WWE. Do you think if his matches that he's had in AEW over the last 2 months, if he turned in the same kind of work in the WWE on their television right now, with what they got going on?
WWE or NXT?
WWE. Well, either one. Well, okay, NXT, WWE. Would his work be able to put him on Raw or SmackDown right now?
I don't think it's as bad as you're making it out to be, but it's certainly not. It's certainly not for the value, the bang for the buck that you would want for that kind of money. And again, he went to AEW because of the money, more than likely. I mean, maybe there were other minor reasons, but it's money,
the money in the schedule, and he knew that he couldn't fucking do the other place with the style and the schedule, because here they
Nakamura is the only one who came over and has been able to do it.
This guy figured, I can't fucking do this anymore. I'm broken down for whatever reason, but these marks will pay me, and I can phone it in. And, and that's why he did this, because I believe if the WWE got this and that's what he could do in their rings, they would fucking cut him. And I'm daring somebody to point me to something that Okada has done in the ring in AEW that is as impressive as even any number of the AEW guys, and that would be. I'm not talking about green guys making mistakes in WWE. I'm talking about the level of physicality, the pace, the style, and would this guy's body break under it? That's what he's soft. He's taking it easy. He does the bare minimum. There's no snap to shit, and there's no speed to shit.
And again, AEW, it is a lighter work schedule, obviously, than even NXT, because you are in the training facility, I would assume, and you're always around. AEW, it's one show a week, unless they book you on Saturday, or unless there's a pay-per-view. But it's one show a week. So if his body's broken down, you could understand why that would be appealing, plus millions of dollars.
Well, yes. And also when you said NXT, I said, well, there's an element of greenness and sloppiness. But then I realized, there with anybody, that's not the issue we're talking about. We're talking about he's not performing that athletically. So anyway,